Hi there, it's Jonathan here. This is 4100 and we're studying the history of Israel's kings. Chapter 5 begins the 7-year process of building the temple of Yahweh in Jerusalem. As you read these chapters, you can't help but be impressed by the reverence undertaken in the work. It's not until you see a comparison between the current Temple Mount with the second temple built in the book of Ezra, and then with the first temple we're currently reading about, that you really get a sense of the grandeur of the first temple. A cubit is 1 forearm's length, so basically 18 inches or 1.5 feet. That means the temple Solomon has built here was 27 meters in length, 9 meters wide, and 15 meters high. This is not including the enormous outer courts which surrounded the temple. Don't miss the attention to detail found in these chapters outlining the construction of the temple. It certainly wasn't a situation of everyone who wanted to have a go could have a go. Rather, like Hiram, king of Tyre, and his skilled workers with cedar, specialists were appointed to specific tasks in order to maintain the highest levels of quality. The numbers in these chapters are quite mind-boggling. It's a shame that 5:3 tells us the people of Israel were basically made slaves to complete the task of construction. 6:1 tells us that it was 480 years after the exodus from Egypt when the building began. God tends to not be in a hurry. Take note of 6:7, where we are told that no hammer or chisel or any other iron tool was used on Temple Mount, only the more quiet assembly of the stonework. What a significant example of deep reverence for the holiness of the task. 6:13 brings us to the point of the whole exercise. God has promised to live among his people. He has promised from the very beginning to be their God and to be with them. The constant refrain found in numerous places in the Old Testament, "Be strong and courageous," is always accompanied by the promise that God will be with his people. As we read about the temple, always remember this is pointing to the purpose of it all, that God by his Spirit would inhabit his people. God in a temple made by human hands is ironically, due to all its immense grandeur, a poor reflection of what it is all pointing towards: Pentecost, the Spirit alive in our hearts through faith and the finished work of Jesus. 6:16 is very significant as it is describing the Holy of Holies. This is why the Jews to this day lean towards the western wall of the Temple Mount to pray, because it is the closest place to the original Holy of Holies we are reading about right now. Don't miss the magnitude of the cherubim spoken of in 6:23 and following. These represent powerful angels standing next to and above the Ark of the Covenant. These carved cedar angels are 4.5 meters tall with a full wingspan of 4.5 meters wide. 2 of them, with outstretched wings, reaches almost 10 meters across and 2 stories tall surrounding the ark. Quite an imposing sight for the high priest to stand before upon entering the Holy of Holies. Chapter 7 tells us that Solomon spent nearly twice as long on the construction of his own palace. We're probably intended to pick up on this, even though the palace was a little larger, 45 meters long, 23 meters high, and 15 high. 7:13 continues with the details of the temple. Every type of metal and costly stone was used in the construction, and of course, the finest craftsmen were contracted to do the work. I can't help but think we have lost a little of the attention to quality for the Lord in our modern day expression of church life. Enjoy God's word.